Only have one day at Epic Universe and wondering what's actually possible? Well, let me show you. I visited on a Saturday in June without an express pass and still managed to ride every major attraction, explore every land, and eat some tasty theme park food. Hi, I'm Kenzie, and I'm all about helping you make the most of your adventures. In this video, I'll walk you through the layout of Epic Universe and what we were all able to do in one day here. Now let's dive in. First up is Celestial Park. This is the heart of Epic Universe and your launch pad into the other 4 worlds. But don't rush through it. This area is definitely more than just a pass-through. It's also home to 3 unique attractions. The first one being Astronomica. And Astronomica is an interactive water play area with dancing fountains. And there's technically not a line for this or anything. It's kind of just like a splash pad, but Universal does list it as an official attraction in their app, so I wanted to call it out. The next ride we didn't personally ride was Constellation Carousel, and that's a modern take on the classic carousel, but themed with mythical creatures and constellations. But the main attraction in here in Celestial Park, and overall in my opinion, is Stardust Racers. Stardust Racers is a roller coaster, and you race head to head with another coaster train, either green or yellow. We rode both colors, and while they were both awesome, I personally like the yellow side a little bit more. It just felt a little bit more faster and intense. So remember, as you go, once you get through the security and stuff, you get to pick green or yellow. I would pick yellow if it's not that much longer than the green. I didn't get any close-up footage of the coasters because when you go in line, you actually have to go through metal detectors to make sure you don't have any phones, cameras, or loose objects, because those are not allowed on the ride due to the intensity of the coaster. But overall, this is my favorite thrill ride in the whole park, and here's a helpful tip. Even though the park technically closed at 9 p.m. the day that we went, we noticed that the rides didn't stop immediately. They kept letting people in line, and so we were able to ride the Stardust Racers like 4 times until about 10 p.m. With that being said, I wouldn't count on that happening every night, so if this ride is a must-do on your list, and trust me it should be, make sure you hit it earlier in the day at least once, just in case. Okay, the next land, which is the land I was most excited about, absolutely delivered, and it was Super Nintendo World. Super Nintendo World is everything I dreamed of as a kid who spent way too many hours playing Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. The main 3 attractions in this world are Donkey Kong's Minecart Madness, Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, and Yoshi's Adventure. And if you're a thrill ride lover, Donkey Kong's Minecart Madness is a must-do. The ride simulates that classic track jumping feeling and actually feels like you're leaping across broken tracks, just like in the game. It's fun, fast, and smoother than I expected. We also did Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, which is totally different, but just as cool. It's an interactive indoor ride where you wear augmented reality goggles and actually aim and throw shells while racing through iconic tracks. It's super creative and definitely a ride you can do more than once to improve your score. If you're looking for something a little calmer though, or have little ones, Yoshi's Adventure is a super cute, scenic ride. You ride a slow-moving Yoshi around the upper level of the land with great views and lots of hidden character cameos. It's not a thrill ride, but it's definitely worth doing with little ones or if the line is short. We were able to catch this ride when it was only a 5-minute wait. As an adult, personally, I wouldn't wait more than 15 minutes for this ride though. The land itself is so immersive. You're walking through Princess Peach's castle 1 minute, then hitting mystery blocks the next. The interactivity adds a whole new level. One important note, the Express Pass does not work on Donkey Kong's Minecart Madness, so expect longer wait times. We waited about 90 minutes for Donkey Kong's ride and 30 minutes for the Mario Kart in the single rider line. If you only do one land at Epic Universe, I'd say make it Super Nintendo World. It's a pure joy for gamers and nostalgia lovers, and I left with the biggest smile. Now for the next world. If you're a Harry Potter fan, of course you have to visit the Ministry of Magic and ride Battle at the Ministry. This ride blends screens, sets, and motion simulation into one of the most immersive experiences I've ever had. Here's the insider tip. Now, the ride officially doesn't start running until 10 a.m., but you can get in line as early as 9 a.m. We arrived around 9:45, and by then it was already a 3-hour wait. However, the single rider line was closed, so we hopped in line anyways. However, right around 10 a.m., they opened up the single rider line, and we switched over right when they opened it up. And so we only waited 35 minutes. So if you're okay riding separately, this is a game changer. The single rider line does fill up quickly though, and they do close the entrance on the line sometimes, I'm assuming to prevent wait times becoming longer than the standard line itself. And don't leave this Harry Potter world without a visit for some food. We grabbed a baguette, which was turkey, and it was actually really good, nicely spiced and perfect for a light savory bite. Then we tried the butterbeer crepe, and it wasn't something I'd eat every day, but definitely something different and worth having once. And of course, don't forget the butterbeer. Honestly, one of my favorite non-alcoholic drinks of all time. So between the ride and the foodie perks, the Ministry of Magic Land offers both top-tier immersion and flavor. Hit it up early to avoid long wait times and give those snacks a shot. Now let's talk about one of the most visually stunning parts of Epic Universe, Isle of Berk. Inspired by How to Train Your Dragon, this land is packed with personality, from the rugged coastal cliffs to playful dragon details around every corner. The highlight for us here was Hiccup's Wing Gliders. It's a family-friendly coaster that was actually more fun than we expected. It's not just a chill ride, it actually picks up some speed and gives you a smooth, swoopy experience with great views of the land. You're seated in dragon-shaped cars that glide along the raised track, and you get a nice mix of thrills and whimsy. Definitely a great choice if you want to break from the intense coasters, but still want that rush. There are a few other attractions here too, like Fire Drill, where teams of riders blast water cannons into a fun fireboat challenge, which is great for kids and families. There's also Dragon Racers Rally, which includes the spinning motion, and there's Viking Training Camp, which is a play area that's perfect for little ones to explore. Plus, the views alone make it a great spot to slow down and enjoy the day. And for the last world, Dark Universe. It's dark, creepy, and absolutely dripping with gothic monster movie vibes. Think classic Universal monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Wolfman, but made modern and cinematic. One of the rides we did here was Curse of the Werewolf. It's like a spinning roller coaster that's both disorienting and super fun. You never know quite which direction you'll be facing at the turns, which adds to the whole spooky experience. It's a perfect mid-level thrill ride, fun without being too intense, but the spinning really surprised us in the best way. The next ride in this world is Monsters Unchained, and that was another major highlight for us. Second only to Battle at the Ministry in terms of tech, in my opinion. The ride system is smooth and the effects are wild. It feels like you're being dropped into a horror film without actually getting scared out of your mind. So overall, if you're into creepy cool rides and dark theming, this land is a must, but even if you're not a horror fan, the artistry and atmosphere make it worth exploring. Alright, let's talk about something every first-time visitor wonders. Is the Universal Express Pass worth it at Epic Universe? We opted not to get it, and here's why. At the time we visited, the Express Pass was over $300 on top of your regular park ticket. And even then, it doesn't work on some of the most popular rides, like Harry Potter's Battle at the Ministry and Donkey Kong's Minecart Madness. The price of the Express Pass does fluctuate, but I still certainly wouldn't pay $300 for it, but I would probably say it's worth about $150 if you do go on a day when it's worth that price. If you're planning to hit all the big rides in one day without an Express Pass, just know that it's possible, and here are some tips for what worked for us. The first one being, get to the park early. If you're staying at a Universal hotel, you actually have an hour early admission into the theme park. We were not at a Universal hotel, but we were still actually able to get into the Celestial Park area Same with all the early admission people. We just couldn't get into the additional lands. So I recommend getting there early, especially if you want to get in line for the Battle of the Ministry. That's a great way to get a step above everyone else. Another tip is head straight to the rides that don't offer the Express Pass, especially Battle at the Ministry or Minecart Madness. Another helpful tip is watching the single rider line options. Sometimes they can dramatically cut your wait time. Like I said before, we waited just 35 minutes for Ministry using that strategy instead of 3 hours. Another helpful tip is to save your shopping and slower walkthroughs for midday or late evening when the crowds are heavier. Also, keep an eye on ride closures and soft openings. We found that some rides were still running just after the official park closed at 9 p.m., which let us squeeze in extra rides. But don't bank on that always happening. Overall, if you're strategic with your timing and don't mind a little walking, you can definitely get a ton done in one day without splurging on the Express Pass. So to recap, if you only have one day at Epic Universe, don't stress. You can see and do a lot. Even without an Express Pass, we were able to ride every major attraction we wanted to and explore all 5 lands. Epic Universe might be bigger than all of Universal's other parks combined, but the layout makes it surprisingly easy to get in and out of each world. Everything's walkable, well-signed, and feels seamless to navigate. With a little planning and an early start, it's totally doable to hit all the big rides, try a few snacks, and still have time to wander and enjoy the theming. Thanks for coming along with me. If you're trip planning or want help figuring out your day, drop your questions below. I'd love to help. And if you want more honest, experience-based travel tips, be sure to hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.